Blog Talk Radio.
Aziz, 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 Aziz.
I'm bringing in John, Kemet, Shabazz. Let's see. John, can you hear us? John, can you hear us?
Yes, I do, Crystal. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. All right. So we are live, but this is a private link. So I figure what we'll do is hang out here, test a couple of things, and then when it's ready to go live, I can switch on over from this private link to a public link. So,
okay.
All right.
Well,
so we've got. Go ahead.
Well, some things I did want to tell you. I was going to call you and tell you that. Wally Hood is a good friend of Amy Parks, and this is a tribute show to her, of course. And he requested that we call him because he's not going to be able to listen to the show. Okay.
Great, we'll call him.
Okay. Now I sent you the numbers. You got those numbers, didn't you?
I got the numbers right there. Yeah,
okay.
I got them here. Do you have any of the? Go ahead.
Now, I was going to ask you, can you read my writing on all of those numbers? Did it come out clear enough to be able to? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
And do you have any of the audio clips of Amy Parks?
Can I send them to you? I can email them.
Okay.
Can I email them to you?
No, I think what we'll just do right here is, I think what I can do is play. Let's test this out here, okay? So I'm going to go over here to YouTube and see if it plays through this audio here.
I suggest a tribute to her, the Amy Parks tribute or whatever, whatever it's your choice, because there were so many good things that she said, right?
Well, just tell me if you can hear this.
Now I do hear something.
Can you hear
in the
that,
background.
John?
No.
You can't hear?
No.
Okay.
But what I do hear something in the background behind you, Crystal.
Okay, but that's not clear.
Know.
Let's see.
Let me make sure. Maybe that's not coming from.
Well, I was playing the video in another. It's not coming through the Blog Talk, but I was playing the video through. I just wondered if it could come through YouTube.
Okay, I got that out. That was me. I heard some. I had some. This is new, so I'm glad we're testing it out. Okay, so.
Yeah.
I had some concerns. I had some concerns about it, but now that I got the mic straight, I feel more comfortable with it.
Yeah,
and
you sound great.
I did go and watch it. Well, you sound great too, Crystal. And I went and watched the videotapes, and it helped me become. I said, well, I use YouTube for everything else. I use it to fix my motorcycle, use it to fix my car, and I didn't think to use YouTube like you suggested. Okay, so. I want to thank you, Crystal, because you took time out to show some love, okay?
Oh, no, my kids taught me that. YouTube for everything. See, we're old heads. We don't think that, but it's everything. Let's see if you can hear this. Can you hear this? Can you hear that, John?
I hear something real low in the background.
Okay, that's not going to work. Okay, so
Okay.
and that's okay. We can one of the things that I think I'll do with this is we'll keep it we'll put it live so that people that are going to call in can listen, but then I will make it private so that we can put in um, so that we can make it so what I'm saying is we'll do the show live, that way people listening, the people that you've asked to listen, they can listen in, right, and
Okay.
hear what we're talking about. But then afterwards we won't push the show out. I'll just mark it private, that way we can go back and listen. We can edit this part off of it, like us talking right now, because it's recording that. Then we can just and put in, I can figure out how to get some audio clips of Sister Amy Parks and put them into the show. So we can open with her voice and maybe close with her voice, or, I think that will work. So.
And I was I just reached over and actually grabbed a hold of the. I wrote a letter to an attorney, right? Who we shared. His name was Bob Cohen. He's here in Morgantown. I don't know if you remember me mentioning Bob Cohen in a conversation that we had with Romelia or not. But Miss Amy and I shared him as an attorney. And I wrote him a letter asking to do an interview with him on his past history with Miss Amy. And in that letter, I put the timestamp, of the videos of certain quotes that she made, the timestamps. So I got that before me. And let's see, Queen Mother Amy Parks Tribute, Part 2, timestamp 3353. Black women are the least likely to marry. The black marriage rate fell from 1970 to 2001 to 34%. Oh, what was the black man calling us? The hoe. My hoe. You young women, I want you to listen to me. My hoe. We haven't outgrew that yet. My hoe. I don't want nobody in this room to get offended with me. We facking. This is what they told me this meeting was about today. By the age of 30, only 52% of black women will marry. That means 48% will not marry. They don't have nobody to marry. These are comments that she made at the National International Day of Action and Unity that we had in Morgantown. This is a test, but I had to get that.
Yeah.
These are okay. So I have these. I think I also emailed that to you.
Yeah,
well.
I've got it right up. I've got it right in front of me. So if we want to, one of the things we can do is just, I think when we come on, we'll say hello, and then set up the show. Does anybody have a specific time that they're going to call in, or do we call Mr. Hood first, or how did you want to do that?
I'm glad you asked me that question, because I wrote that down because I was going to suggest to you that we get Wally, and after we go through an introduction between you and I, and we state what the show is about, we get we call Mr. Hood, because he's not going to be able to listen to the show, but he did contact me twice and say, hey, I want to do this. I had to press him too on this. All right, talk to him like, hey, you know what I mean. I know how to press people. Okay?
Yes, I do.
and Crystal, let us. I respect you as you, and you just let me be me, and this thing will be good because we're providing a service. Okay, something that must be done. Okay.
Absolutely, it now is the moment. And so you be used, in full.
Okay.
And so we'll just do a quick intro here in about 15 minutes, and we'll just hang out here until. And we're just going to be ourselves. I'm not too worried about it. I'm really not. I'm not too worried about anything, because it's kind of one of those things. It's like you don't have to prepare for what you know.
Right.
I mean, So, and I think one of the things that we can teach and we can help people is to how they have to navigate their own research,
Right.
So when we're talking about, and I'll put all this stuff in the links of the show, right? So like your YouTube links, the article links. You know what I mean? That way, in case anybody has a question about what we're talking about, they can just go look for themselves. But
And
I think we'll do an intro.
I also suggest with the intro, with the get the YouTube link for the Amy Parks tribute.
Okay.
We're going to make that even better. You know what I mean? But that's got some quick, short. It's got her speaking out at Eversville at the coal miners' memorial. Okay, it starts with that clip, but then there are the other clips from the National International Day of Action and Unity, which was an important event. Okay. I want to continue to. I'm so eager to get this on the record that it was a very important event. Okay, and because we were able to state on the record some important things at that particular time, but it wasn't just us by ourselves. We joined in with other cities throughout the country.
Well, let's. I mean, throw that in however you want to. Let's just see. I just want to make sure that because you've done so much work to get these people to
okay. Let's
call
get them
in, and you can just so
Wally,
we'll do an intro of how we got to here, right? Like who you are, who I am, why we're doing this, right? And then we'll call Wally. We'll call Wally and let him talk, and then. I've got
Logan.
this book for an hour. So is Lujana going to call us in?
I can tell her to call in. I want to get her in right after Wally and let her go.
You just want me to follow this list right here? Right?
Wally, Lujana, Romeo, yeah. Follow the list. Now Amaru and Tumani are my people here in here in de facto Morgantown with me. Okay. Okay, so they're sitting back. Go ahead, excuse me.
I was just going to say, so I think so that we're not rude with anybody. That when we get them on the line, thanks for joining us, and we want to hear your story about, your connection, what with Sister Amy Parks, the state of Black West Virginia, and we've got a great lineup of people, so. We've got like about 10 minutes at the max to talk to each person. That's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Yep, that's what we got. So I'm just trying to think of. So I'm just going to give everybody I'll just jump in and say I'll be saying okay, look, we appreciate you so much for being. When it gets close to the time, appreciate you being so much. We've got, I'll say we've got another call scheduled. If I need to, and if we, just be mindful if you have your watch there that we want to just make sure that we're talking to each person for about 10 minutes, and that's about it.
Okay.
And we've got a longer interview with Romelia, so I feel okay. You know what I mean? Like we want to mention that we have a longer interview with her, and we're trying to put this together, into a bigger story, from our community perspective. So I just don't want anybody to think we're rushing them, not giving them time, but I think if we tell them up front, we'll be okay with that. And I think we can talk. We could talk about Sister Amy Parks, but if things get going another direction with anybody, we can always go back to her quote, right? Which is, "This is my activism. You know what an activist is. They make things happen." So I think what we could do, which would be, I think, interesting and fun, is just use her quotes as prompts, right?
Okay. I like that.
It sounds like Mr. Hood has something he wants to say, but I think everybody.
Excuse me for interrupting you. Go ahead, Crystal.
So let him just set it up and talk whatever he wants to. But then with everybody else, even Romelia, let's just pick a quote and let them respond to the quote and then tell their story, right? I think that'll give us a little bit of a structure, because I think that'll help them. And then, and then if you want to, the quote about black women being least to marry, I don't know if you want to close the show out with Tumani responding to that quote, because if that's important, to you. It doesn't, any of the quote from anything on this list they're all good, but I think that Sister Amy Parks allows us space to talk about anything, because she said, I'm a black activist through and through, I mean, like, she's basically saying, that if we're talking about anything black in West Virginia that's activist or action oriented, we are within the realms of a Sister Amy Parks story.
Right.
I think.
Right. Our issues first over everything else. That's what I liked about her. Okay, and she tells you up front. Yeah. So I liked her directness. I guess I'm reaching inside, looking for into my heart. I noticed that Miss Amy, she was on the outside, she was kind of tough. She could be tough on you, but after you got a chance to know her, you get up underneath that toughness, and she was really a soft person. Me and her we had a fallout where she stopped speaking to me for a period of time.
Wally's on hold. Wally's on hold. He's already calling in.
Wally's calling in already, and it's 5 minutes early.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to just go ahead?
Well. Do you want to go? Do you?
Yeah, let's go ahead and go. I'm gonna.
Okay. Well, how does that work? You it's on your end.
Let me see.
You still gonna do your intro, right?
Hold on. Yeah, he's on mute right now. So, all right. I tell you what. Here's what we'll do. We'll go ahead. I'm going to play this little music again. All right. We're going to go. I'm going to take it off of private. We're going to go public. I'm going to play that little music, and we're just going to start the show. Okay. And then we'll bring him in. All right. So that's probably going to be like 3 minutes. We'll be a little ahead of time. I hope he's ready. So, all right. Okay, and we'll switch over to public. I'm going to play the little music, and then I'm going to just make up a show intro and intro you, and then we'll get started, okay?
Okay. All right.
Here we go.
Aziz.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Black by God, the West Virginian. I'm your host, Crystal Good, along with my co-host,
John Kemet Shabazz L. with the Shabazz Report, here in the lovely Upper Monongahela River Valley. Excuse me.
How you feeling today, John?
I'm feeling good. I'm celebrating. I'm celebrating. I want to thank you too, Crystal, for getting us to where we need to be. And I'm going to let you go ahead on an intro. Okay, go ahead on, sis, because I don't want to take over your show.
Yeah, this is our first show, so we're just, we're here and we're doing it. It's 2020, and this is an idea of having a statewide call-in talk show for Black West Virginians to talk about Black issues. And, it only took a global pandemic to get us here, but we're here now. And I'm so thankful. Some of you all may know who I am. Some of you may not, but my name's Crystal Good. I'm a poet and a performer. I've got, I just try to stay creative. How about that? And one of the things that I'm doing is starting a media platform called Black by God. So that's part of the reason that we're here today. And, John, I'm just going to talk about you just a little bit, because one of the things that I'm super excited about this is the work that John's been doing for probably the decade that I've known him has been so instrumental in documenting, the people, places, and things, past, present, and future of Black West Virginia. And I love it that John keeps it on the record. And with his the Shabazz Report, YouTube channel and just, decades long of being present and bearing witness to what's happening in Black West Virginia. And we know that in 2020, if you don't have a video, it didn't happen. So, John, you're an inspiration to me. You're an inspiration to me, and I'm glad that we're here and you've worked hard, to get a lot of guests for us. Mm-hmm.
Well, I wanted to say that, we have the YouTube platform. When I just set up the Shabazz Report in 2020 as a way of doing grassroots media. The ordinary people get a platform to be able to speak their perspectives. As an Afrocentric myself, I had been researching, investigating, and journalizing obscure information for like the last 30 years. And the Afrocentric movement, real quickly, Afrocentric movement really didn't catch on with the masses of the people. But the early Afrocentrics, people like Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, Dr. Asa Hilliard, James Smalls, there's so many, also Dr. Leonard Jeffries, among many others. They really put a sacrifice in, and it's a tribute to them. But even more so, Sister Amy Rose Parks, and I'm going to turn it back over to you, sis. I'm really excited about this show. This is our first show, and this ain't the first time you and I have hooked up with each other and done work. Okay, I first met you down in Charleston, back in it must have been the early 2000s. Later, I met you at the Megan Wiggins Hate Crimes March down there in Charleston back in 2007, and you also helped us. We got back in touch, hooked up again, to help get our friend Jimmy Gardner, the baseball player.
Our friend Jimmy Gardner.
Out of prison after having been wrongly convicted for 27 years. So we've been doing good work, Crystal. Good team, and we're here to bring on some good folks. We got some good folks lined up. I think we got Brother Wally Hood. Do we got him on hold waiting? Do we got him?
Well, let's bring Wally in right here. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Hello, Mr. Hood.
Yes, that is me. How you doing?
All right.
How are you? This is Crystal Good.
I'm doing very good, Miss Good. Just hanging in there. I'm waiting to get this interview, get it going, and put my little presentation down about Amy. She was a good friend, and I've been knowing her for a long time, and I was very disappointed when I heard the news. It was not good because I had talked to her previously a week prior to that, and I had lost her telephone number. And I think I called Ramelia to ask what was the telephone number, her telephone number. And I don't know who told me, but I was very disappointed to hear that because she didn't show me any indication that she was sick. We talked about my brother's death with the COVID, and she had been helping me because of the situation. It was very personal to me, to lose a loved one like that. And I was trying to recover, and she was there for me. So she's always been there for me. And I was really hurt, actually, I mean, I hadn't seen her in quite a while, but it was just.
Wally, didn't Miss Amy counsel your brother during that period?
Yes, she did. Well, see, her and my brother were both prayer warriors. When my brother was at his 100%, him and Amy both were prayer warriors, and they kind of consoled together, And
yes, sir.
When my brother his health started to fail, I was his power of attorney. So she was there to counsel me, and it was kind of rough for me because times I had to deal with a lot of things, and she was like, "You've got to do this, and you've got to be strong because this is something that you." She had a funny way about it. She said, "You volunteered to be power of attorney, so you got to do your job. This is your brother." And, me
right.
working, and I was working long hours, and it was just a rough thing, but she
right.
was there always to give me strength, always.
Well, you and I talked at one time, and you shared with me some of the things that I think made Miss Amy the way she is in terms of that we have so many good quotes from her in reference to. Could you share with our audience some of the
Well,
comments, your thoughts?
Well, the thing is, Amy and I, I'm a retired coal miner, and Amy knew my father. My father was a strong union person, and I had told Amy once. I said my father really used to talk about your father. They used to call him Reverend Gray. My father would say he's a strong union man. Well, I didn't know that, and Amy told me that her father came out of the coal fields of southern West Virginia, and he was a union organizer. And I explained to Shabazz that at that particular time, if he was a union organizer, he was trying to organize black miners, not white miners, because most black miners didn't trust the white organizers. They had to have someone that looked like them to have trust in. And right. Amy knew that. She told me about her sister, and one of her sisters, or maybe two of her sisters, had came from that area, Gary or somewhere down in there. So that spirit, that organizing spirit, probably led over to her to be an activist and be a strong person that she was. I'm sure that her father had that same spirit, and it's a good spirit of helping. You know what I mean? And she showed that whenever it came to black people. She loved black people, but she also was like a giving person. She also consoled some white people that was on welfare too. I knew that for a fact. And that's the type of person she was. But she was black 100% always, and she was just outstanding. She had called me. Oh, this has probably been, I don't know, maybe years ago. She was having trouble in her community with some people that had moved there. That was kind of like not giving her respect, and she wanted me to come up. So I started visiting her just to show presence, because I knew what she had done for me. She's done several things for me on different occasions. So I tried to make that present there so these people could see, well, she has good men friends. And that was her problem. She was saying that there was no strong black men around to support her. And I went to court with her. And myself and Lou Cottingham and who else was it? Three of us. We went to Fairmont, went to court with her there to kind of support her, and she supported me and Shabazz and Ed Cabell, Professor Ed Cabell, Professor Norman Jordan, and I think Professor Ron. I think his name was Ron Lewis. He was from Ohio. And we did a little thing on the black coal miner. We did it twice. We did it once in Everettsville. You remember that, Shabazz? He was there.
Now, I was able to videotape and document that. It's on YouTube. Okay.
But she was a good main speaker there, because she took us all, put us all in the right place where we should be. Because like I said, something there about her that she had told me one time that it was either her husband or her boyfriend was a union miner, had ran against the president of the UMWA, Arnold Miller, and they had Ku Klux him or something. They didn't show him any type of respect. But she was involved in all that. She knew a lot about southern West Virginia, and that's where, her fight was, in any place in West Virginia, she could stand out and help someone, especially if it was a discrimination case. She was good at that, always there to help. And funny thing, because there was times that I would call her for information, and she would say, you calling me and you're arguing with me. Why you even call me? Just go ahead and do it your way. And whenever you see it don't work, come back and tell me. I said, well, I'm not arguing with you, Amy. But normally we had that kind of conversation, but I'd always go with her because I know she had the experience, Right. And there was never any bitter feeling or anything, but we've been high tempo before on certain issues, and I respected that. And she would tell me too, I respect your opinion, but you can't change my mind. She was tough, really tough, especially when I wanted to get into the meat of Fairmont and something was going on. she always had a good perspective on it, always. And I knew that she had the right information because she was the go-to person when I first, she was the go-to person back in the 80s. I know that for a fact. She knew everything. She knew who to go to, what the situation was, and she was just an all-around person. You know, she will be missed, no doubt about it, no doubt. And
Mr. Hood, I just want to ask a quick question, and thank you so much for coming on and sharing. And you know, part of what we hope to do with this, you know, statewide call-in talk show, allowing people to find each other, is encourage and inspire one another, because we know times right now are challenging, to say the least. What do you think Sister Amy Park's legacy is for the youth of today? What could they learn from her life and be? What do you think that is?
Well, I think that she didn't hold no barriers. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you was black and you wasn't right, she'd tell you ain't right. You know, and I think a lot of people have. A lot of black kids don't have that. You know what I mean? She didn't have. It was business with her. You know what I mean? She would tell things the way it is. She was strong, and she's just a person that was like grass-rooted and tough. I don't know. Like I said, I gave you that information. She got that from her father, I would say, or somebody. And I think Amy, it's hard to express her. She didn't care if she told you something about someone that wasn't right. She didn't care if it hurt him or you or whoever. That's the way it was, because she would tell me, I know these things. I know these people. I've been involved in this stuff for a long time. And she didn't pick and choose. I'll put it that way. She used her strength to better the community, and you don't see that anymore. I don't see that in young people. No, not like that. And she was old school too. That was one thing that I will say about her. She had very strong conviction, but she still stayed pretty close to the spiritual side of doing things the right way. You know what I mean? And that's, you know, she could be tough, but she still stayed on the side of the cross. And I would say young people should use her as a legacy to remember, you know, the things that she stood for. And also, the thing is, I still didn't get the gist of it. She went to Iran on a committee, did she not?
From what I understand, she did. She always made me remember that she was not just here locally and statewide, but she was international, so she did go on that. I think Ramelia spoke to that when we interviewed her, Crystal, that she was chosen to go see, I think was it Ayatollah? It was either Ayatollah. Yes. Yeah. So I'd like to have more information on that, because that's an interesting story right there on Sister Amy Rose Parks, our Queen Mother Warrior.
Well, she told me when she was there, the person in Iran at that particular time was not the person that's there now, but previously, I don't know if he was the president or whatever his position was. She said he was a security guard. She remembered him. Now, his name I can't give you, but the face, I see it. But he later became somebody very, very important there after Ayatollah. She gave me his name, but so it's I don't know how to say it, but she was more than just Fairmont. Somebody had to see something in her to say, hey, this lady is very, very prominent. She's not just a local yoho, you know. For her to do that, to go there on that committee. So that's something that Fairmont should be proud of, and they should be documenting that, you know.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, Wally, we did get an opportunity to do that with asking her to come in and be a speaker for the National International Day of Action and Unity back in 2011. However, I think Sister Romelia, her daughter, is trying to get that that picture removed of the slave over there by that park in Fairmont. They got a slave on the wall. I think she wants to take that picture off the wall and put Sister Amy Rose Parks, her mother, up there. And I agree with that. Okay, in fact, and so hopefully we'll get an opportunity to talk to Amelia later on. But thank you very much for calling for taking the call, Wally. We appreciate you very much.
All right, then. Just keep up the good work, both of you, okay?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.
All right. We've actually got several callers on the line. I'm so excited about that. So let's see who else we got on the line here. John, hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hello. Someone. Hello. Hello. Welcome to Black by God. Can you hear us?
Is this Sister Lujana Logan calling in?
Well, all right. Let's try another one. Here we go.
Hold on. Try 318 number. See if we can get that sister in here.
Hello? Hello? All right, let's just do a call out here. We're okay. Let's call Sister Lujana Logan and dial her up. And you know, one of the things that it's our first show that we haven't done. I don't think we talked enough to the folks about who Sister Amy Parks is and why we're doing this conversation around her life and her living and her legacy today. I found Sister Amy Parks by doing my research on the Shabazz Report YouTube. I started listening to, her telling stories of Black West Virginia and her life, and I needed to know more about who she was. So I listened to every video, started transcribing her words, because she really spoke to me and gave me courage to say, okay, listen, being an activist is necessary, and what it takes to do that. It takes courage, and it takes knowing your facts, and it takes these things. And then, after I sort of went down her rabbit hole through your YouTube channel, John, is when I read in the paper that she had passed away. And it really sparked a conversation between us and with the community, because a lot of things have transpired since her passing. So I don't know if you want to respond to that and help the folks that might not know Sister Amy Parks, why we're here today talking about her life and legacy.
Well, I can remember Sister Amy Rose Parks when she used to work for Welfare Rights years ago. And this was back in the day when I wasn't John Shabazz. I was somebody else back in those days. But she was a good sister that worked there along with several other sisters in the neighborhood for Welfare Rights, which was a grassroots organization at that time looking out for the benefit of the community collective. And I first met her when I was 13 years old. And at that time, she was a person, as Wally said, a go-to person in the community. Now, years later, I have a situation occur with me, and Miss Amy Rose Parks is there to support me. And she's down with me during the whole period of that situation. And that comes out good. But Sister Amy Rose Parks, her and I worked with each other at the International Day of Action and Unity. I'm going to talk about that, okay? Because here we give her the mic, and she brings us a message. She brings us a message about black on black love, black on black unity, which I remembered from all the way back when I was 13, when I really didn't know too much. I seen her sacrificing and putting herself on the line at that age. Now I'm working with her as a man to pull off and host this event, which is a national event. I asked Sister Amy Rose Park, as well as my god sister, Lujana Logan, to come on and assist me with this. And we actually blow that out. and that's on YouTube to review as well, right? And much of the information with Sister Amy Rose Parks, is, in terms of the documentation, we snatched it from her presentations. So she says some very profound things at the National International Day of Action and Unity, and I took time to, after her passing, I took time to go back through and date stamp some of the quotes that she made.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And it's like, for instance, she would say, "Fact is fact, and real is real." Meaning, dealing with meaning that it's a statement to black people that's profound, because she's telling us, don't be deceived. Okay, fact is fact.
That's right.
Okay, but Crystal.
Well, you mentioned Sister Lujana Logan. Let's give her a call and see if we can connect with her. Okay, let's see. Dallin, here we go. All right. Let's see if she's there.
Okay.
Hello.
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 Hi,
how are you?
Oh,
good. This is
Sister
Lujana Logan.
It is. How are you guys?
All right, sis.
I'm doing good.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Sister Lujana, it's an honor to be able to have you on the show, because this is my God sister, and I bow down before her. Okay.
Aww.
Because she's the one that it really helped us pull off the National International Day of Action and Unity, and we had to get out there and grind for that. But it gave Sister Amy Rose Parks a platform to speak some profound truth to us that we still carry. And so I want to, Chris, you had a question for Lujana?
Well,
Hello?
I was just, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me? Okay. No, I just wanted to hear your Sister Amy Parks story. I'm just going to say it. I fell in love with Sister Amy Parks, and in that sense of, like, in that moment that I needed, that mother figure, that encourager, that person to speak into me. And I found that through the YouTube videos. And, I spent days with her voice. And, then it was the next week that she had passed away. So it was that moment in time when you think, oh, I can't wait to meet this person. And then that person is no longer in a physical form for that to happen. But I feel like I'm meeting Sister Amy Parks through every story. And so I just want to hear, tell me about that National Day of Unity, because that was the video that said, Crystal, you got to quit dancing around this. You're an activist and you better act like it,
Right.
And so,
that's right. Well, I want to say thank you guys for allowing me to express myself on this platform. I'm so honored to be able to come on and talk about I call her Mama. She's like a mama to me. And Sister Amy Parks. I've known her. Her and my mother were best friends. And we grew up with her around us, all the time. Anytime my one brother, he used to always get in trouble. So her and my mother, they would be a force to be reckoned with. And they would go down to the school and just put those teachers in their place. And, so I got to see the power that she had in the community. Then she started welfare rights. She was battling some problems that she was having on a personal level with the Department of Welfare, and they were trying to get her in some kind of trouble, but she actually fought and she actually won the case, and thus her and Miss Jean Clay and Miss Dot Moore and who else was it, John? It was one more person. They actually.
Did you miss Miss
Gwendolyn Moore, yes. They started the welfare rights. And so they were able to attain an office down right on the corner in the black neighborhood in Fairmont, West Virginia, and it was open to everybody. Like the kids, we had activities there. It was just a place to be, and we just honored her so much in our community. She was such a warrior. Like, they knew if she was coming, it wasn't going to be no crap. She wasn't taking no stuff. She wasn't leaving no stone unturned. She was going to get to the bottom of whatever it was, and so she really taught John and I a lot about being in the community, doing activist stuff, and she was our, what we call her, John, it was more than a mentor.
We call the grassroots elder and a
motivator. The elder, she was definitely. So anytime.
Oh, go ahead. Excuse me. I was getting ready to say that she was the one pushed for the Juneteenth, and it made me come to you and ask for you to come on board and help us with that, and we was able to get that through her, And
Once I was approached by John to join the West Virginia Black Unity Coalition, we were trying to implement a lot of different programs. And so Juneteenth was brought to my attention. And so they were like, well, Juneteenth's been on the books in West Virginia since 2008. It was, nobody's done anything with it. So I went to the city government in West Virginia, and I said, hey, you guys owe us this. I need you to give me some money. I need you to allow me to have it at the park. I need this. I need that. And they gave me whatever I needed. So, that helped us do the first Juneteenth. The second Juneteenth, we just continued to do it each year.
We did the first one.
Yeah, 2011 was our very first one, and we've been doing it ever since then. Yeah. And it's getting bigger and bigger every single year. This year, we actually had the honor of honoring Sister Amy Parks with the plaque, because we really appreciate all of her hard work and dedication. And sometimes, even though she wasn't there on the front lines with us, she was with us in spirit. I love her so much. When she passed away, it hurt me to my core, because I had just lost my mother in February, and Sister Parks was sick herself. She actually came in from Ohio and to my mother's funeral and spoke at my mother's funeral, and knowing that she was sick herself. So that's the caliber of woman that we're talking about. Somebody that never complained, that always made things happen. Always give you words of wisdom and inspiration. She always was an inspiring person.
She always.
And
absolutely.
Yeah, I will always cherish her. She's always with me in spirit. I always cherish everything that she's taught me and John, and we're going to continue to to fight the fight of trying to get some equality in the Black community. We're going to try. We're going to continue to try.
And provide a platform for other young organizers and activists, right?
Absolutely.
It's not a me thing, but really a we thing. And that's what Miss Amy represented.
Yeah.
She did her own individual thing, but she did represent the community as a collective.
Yes. She was such an instrumental. She was so instrumental in the development of so many different programs in Fairmont, and they still continue. So I really I cherish everything about her. Just the strong woman that she was. She was hardcore. To look at her, she reminded me so much of Maya Angelou, and she used to always recite Maya Angelou's poems. So that's what she recited at the last Juneteenth that she attended with us. Yeah. And so I was just so honored that, and she said, Lujana, I got to dress the proper way. I got dressed like Maya Angelou when I delivered this poem, and she did that. She was dressed to the nine. She was dressed to the nine, head wrap and caftan, the whole thing.
She looked like an African goddess.
Yeah, she's a goddess. And it was just so wonderful. And I see the same kind of fire in her daughter, Romelia Hodges. I told Romelia, I call her Ro. I said, Ro, you got it. Your mama gave you that. So Ro is doing the work that her mama was doing now. Ro is in that category now. Ro is making things happen, making heads turn in Fairmont, and I'm so proud of her too. You know, I wish that I was there. But I do come home, you know, at least once or twice a year, and we do the events in Fairmont. And we just want to let everybody know. And people ask me, well, Lujana, why do you travel all the way from Louisiana to Fairmont? You know, when we got people here doing things, I said, because people wasn't doing nothing. So you know what? Now they are. You know, we got Romelia, Tiffany Walker. We got Danielle Walker. Yeah, Danielle Walker. You know.
Some of the young people that
the young people
unnamed are doing their thing too, because you know they did the Juneteenth cookout and we didn't organize. Yeah,
Hadia George did. Yeah, you know, because I told him, I said, hey man, I can't come this year. You know, COVID is running rampant and I can't travel that far. So Hadia said, we'll do it. So they had their little parade and everything. I thought it was great. Yeah, I was so happy that the young people got involved. You know what I mean?
And we got to remember that name. You know, because we still doing the Juneteenth and carrying it on. It was some
the Juneteenth is going down.
Young organizers was over here too doing their thing for Juneteenth for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
You might have seen some of the posts I posted. Okay.
Right.
All right, sis.
Now, I wanted to say that right now, Sam, what's Sam's last name, John?
Welcome.
Sam Augusta. Sam Augusta. Yeah. He's actually starting a branch of the New Black Panther Party in Fairmont. So he's looking for people to join. Yeah, he's looking for people to join. We're trying to build a new platform, a whole new way of doing things, because we want to show people that the New Black Panther Party is not a bad organization. You know, it just needed some restructuring, and I think that people are on the same path now. You know, he wants to implement programs to help build our community. It's nothing to tear it down. So if you know anybody that's interested in joining, you know, just hit him up on Facebook, and he'll be happy to take your information and talk to you.
Right.
What's his name again?
And I need to go ahead.
Sam
go ahead.
Augusta, Augusta.
You know, one of the things, just you know, in listening to talk about Sister Amy Parks and, you know, the things that are going on. You know, I'm a Charleston, Kanawha County girl here.
Oh,
and,
yes.
You know, to watch what's happening in Fairmont, you know, it shifts for me. It's important in many, many ways because, you know, with the Romelia Parks and the controversies that are happening with the city council, what's happening up north, as we say, in Kanawha County with Danielle Walker, how the shift is from the state perspective moving more towards the northern part of West Virginia, where, you know, in the past, you know, I think things have been very Charleston centered. And, you know, Fairmont, just to hear that, you know, there is initiative to start a new Black Panther Party, just paying attention to social media and the voices coming out of your hometown, you know, shows me that things are changing. There's an awakening and there's a shift of power. And I use that word power, meaning, you know, who normally gets to hold the microphone in West Virginia for the state of Black issues is changing. And and I think that's something that, you know, we have to recognize because, you know, I think one of the I loved hearing from Mr. Hood talking about, you know, Sister Amy Parks spoke the truth, right? And it didn't, you know, you weren't doing right. And I think that there's a lot of leaders or self-appointed leaders, meaning, you know, let's just keep it real. You know, white folks point out who they want to be the leader of the Black people in the state of West Virginia, and that's not necessarily, you know, what the people, right? Who and
right? Skin don't mean kin, right? Skin don't mean kin.
That's right. Skin folk don't mean kin folk. You know, so I think I think that what my lens when I started learning about Sister Amy Parks and I started seeing, I mean, come on, Sister Amelia Parks, what she's done to bring awareness to COVID in West Virginia is that's
Yeah.
that's humanitarian work on the same scale of her, that's international humanitarian work. You know what I'm saying?
That's
And
right.
we are the
Mhm.
forgotten people within the forgotten people. So I just think that this conversation around Sister Amy Parks is about, the amazing life and inspiration of one person, but what it represents in the scale of West Virginia, black politics and policy, but also in the scale of American, like how, just it's just we're starting this conversation today. We don't know where it's going to go, but I mean, just looking at some of her quotes, anybody. She says, I'm going to look right here. It says, as soon as you say West Virginia, oh, they think we on the west side of Virginia. There's two different states.
Yep.
That's the first thing you have to
Yep.
know. Who am I? I'm a West Virginian. You got to be here. You got to know the facts of West Virginia, right? And the facts of
Yep.
West Virginia are there's been a Sister Amy Park doing the work, since the 1970s, 80s. And before her, there was another Sister Amy Park. We might not know her name, but that's what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the people that came before us and how we can encourage this spirit going forward. So I just thank you so much. I haven't seen you for a long, long, long time, but it's good to hear your voice, Sister Luana.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to add this. Sister Amy Parks was the tree. She was the root of the tree. She created all the branches that grew on the tree, and we're a product of her. She built who we are. She is that person. So we're just trying to make sure that we honor her at every corner. Because she deserved that, and we want to make sure that we follow the guidelines that she's given us by bringing, awareness and trying to bring more to the black community. And by Amelia doing the COVID testing, and Tiffany and Danielle, that was an awesome, awesome move. We appreciate that. By us doing the Juneteenth, that's a great thing that we do. We bring history, black history, to our community, because those are things that we're not taught in school.
Right.
Right. Those are things we're not taught.
Luana,
I mean,
it's somebody about that. They interrupt you. That's an important event for us to do because it brings us together. Okay. And we run that. That's one of the few things that bring us together, and we run it. Okay.
Absolutely.
So I'm just saying.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then I do the Fairmont Past and Present Reunion, which is a reunion that is for the entire city of Fairmont. I invite anyone who ever lived in Fairmont, West Virginia, to come back home for the 4th of July weekend and just have a really good time. It's about unity. It's about building bridges. It's about not because you're just black. We don't want just black. We want everybody. We invite everybody, but it seems like the white people really don't participate too much in it, But it's okay because it'll catch on.
Do I not to interrupt you because it's black? So you're organizing it. It's still black run. It's still run by us, even though we open the door
it's
to
still
everybody.
Run by us. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's not just a black thing. We all grew up in that environment. Whether we didn't know, we thought everything was normal. Like growing up, we just thought everything was normal. We weren't taught of any black history at all, really. And so as we got older, our eyes opened up, our ears opened up. We started educating ourselves to learn more about where we came from, our culture, who did what. And the only thing we really hear about, only person we really was hearing about was Martin Luther King, and it wasn't about Malcolm X. The craziest
Well, he
story.
was omitted. And that's part two. That's part two of what we're dealing with here today, is the state of black West Virginia. Okay, part one was a tribute to Miss Amy, but you're getting into the state of black West Virginia, our education that we received here in this state in terms of self-awareness and black issues. So this is a platform that was meant to be for that.
Right. Just like Trump doesn't want the 1619 project taught in schools. That was funny. But I'm like, really? Well, why wouldn't you want black people to know their history, But anyway, we want to push for that.
Now Trump would say that's indoctrination, and he don't
yes.
want that. He said that that's the left indoctrinating the United States people to hate white people because it talks about slavery, and the 1619 project talks about slavery.
Well, white people hated us. White people hated us, so whatever. It's like, whatever, bring it on. He wants to teach patriotic stuff in school. That's what he's talking about. But isn't that patriotic that we were brought over here to do the jobs that they didn't want to do? Wasn't it patriotic that we actually had our ancestors built the White House so that white people could go and live in it? You know what I'm saying? Wasn't that patriotic? And we didn't get paid a dime.
See, that's
true. So
that's the truth, but he's going to put the spin on that and say that's the hatred indoctrination. Okay.
Well, he's throwing hatred out there and white supremacy.
Dealing with up front.
Here's what I hope. I don't want to cut either one of you off. I just want to make room and space for Sister Amelia Parks to come on.
Yeah.
But what I want taught is this story of Sister Amy Parks. What's happening in Fairmont with Amelia Parks and the COVID, commissioner, and how black folks have been, through the social determinants of health, primarily affected by this disease going through our communities. I mean, that's the chapter that we need to fight to be written, and put into our textbooks. And I know that Sister Danielle Walker, Delegate Danielle Walker, has been is really pushing to, see. I've seen her tweets, and I think she's prepping and priming for possibly some legislation on how the story of Breonna Taylor, the story of George Floyd, can be put into our curriculum. So, with that, Sister Luana Logan, I mean, we're just starting this thing, but it sounds like if you're willing and can come on again and share your views, we got so much to talk about. So I thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
She got something to talk about. Hey. She definitely got something to talk about, Sister Crystal.
All right, y'all.
All right.
Thank you so much.
I love
you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I love you too. Bye.
Bye-bye. All
right. I think we're doing okay, John. You think we're doing okay? I think we're doing okay.
I think we're doing okay too, sis. I do.
Let's just go ahead.
Now this is another quote from Sister Amy.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody know? Oh, that's the one you just got finished quote. Hold on. I want you young people to wake up. You want to do? Go ahead.
A call.
Go ahead.
Let's give her a call and let's do a quote. Let's see. I'll let you welcome her on.
I should have called. We may have to.
That's okay. Let's give
Amaru, yeah. Is he trying to get on?
Let's give Amaru a call, if that's okay.
Okay.
And then we can all respond to the quote, if for the folks that are listening out there or potentially going to be listening, this is what I think is true entrepreneurship. It's just getting in there and doing it.
Right. Just keeping it real. Got to be done. Go ahead on and do it.
That's right. There's the only wrong way to do it is to not do it. So.
Okay, maybe he's not going to answer. Let me
That's all right. It's all right. Um,
You got
I'm not
somebody
sure
else?
how to hang up. No, I just trying to figure out how to hang up on the. Here we go. Maybe that'll do it. Let's see here. Cancel. Let's see. All right.
Okay. I
All
got
right.
a
We can. Sure. Go ahead.
The problems aren't new. The problems that we have now are not new. We just have to do it all over again. And when I say works, we're going to have to start in the trenches and we're going to have to start it all over again. Yeah. I'm a black activist. I'm a black activist through and through. Anybody know me know that I'm black. I was born black. My issues are black first.
Mhm. One of the things that I've seen in when I'm able to have some self reflection on myself. I walk in a body that quote unquote biracial, light skinned. I am afforded certain privileges that I know my darker sisters and brothers are not. I'm afforded a comfortability to imbibe beside white people that darker skinned people do not have. And there's been many years that I haven't been that self-aware of that. And now that I can see firsthand, what the reason that maybe I was appointed to this committee or offered this thing was not so much, not to sell myself short, but wasn't so much that I might have had the best hope. It was maybe that I was, the package I came in allowed people to feel more comfortable beside me, And so
Hey,
when I hear,
mm-hmm. Go ahead, sis.
when I hear Mr. Amy Park's quote, about, I'm black first, I can tell you this much. What I see in politics and policy can often be people put their blue Democrat colors first, right? We know people put their red Republican colors first, right? And I think that, the way we have to look at how decisions are made, at least for me, you put your blackness first, and that requires, no more of this conversation of we're going to do diversity because it helps the bottom line. We're going to be anti-racist because that's what we have to do in this country to move forward. And to me, that is what I hear in Sister Amy Park saying, I'm black first. And I'm going to put black issues first, because until we do that, which is the absolute foundation of this country, what it was built on is anti-blackness, then we're not doing anything. You can buy all the T-shirts you want, you can show up at the protest, you can do whatever you want to do, but until we take a posture of really, putting black issues and anti-racist work first,
Right.
I feel like it's an impossible climb in West Virginia. I'm just going to tell you straight up, John, I think it's an impossible climb. When you were reading the quote, the heaviness of what Sister Amy was saying, that there's no relief in that. There's no relief in her words saying anything but the truth. This is hard. We're going to have to keep doing it. This is hard.
Yeah. She did make that statement that we would have to do our works all over again. And when I heard it, I said to myself, do I got enough energy to do my works all over again, to have to go back and do? But I think what she was saying is that we got to go back and teach another generation that that many of the soldiers of her generation didn't make it to be her age. Okay, that's what this kind of work puts you through, and it also bears witness to the level of gentrification that we have in the black community, that many times we can't even define and explain unless we go to school and get a scholarship in Afrocentric political education, because we're not trained to assess our own condition. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that takes work to assess our own condition, and we hope that this show will give us a platform to properly assess our own condition without being afraid. Oftentimes, we get on somebody else's platform, we can't express ourselves because we're afraid that we might be targeted as a result of what we might say. You know, Crystal. I guess about 4 or 5 years ago, I remember I gave you the legacy of inequality, racial and economic
Mm-hmm.
disparities on West Virginia. That disparities report that was put out in 2010 by the American Friends Service in conjunction with the African American pastors in Charleston, West Virginia. I can say this, that the preachers that worked to get that report out, they gave us the statistics. It's a 10-year report. Another report like it hasn't been done since. But it was done. Statistical disparities represent prima facie evidence for litigation. I asked the question, why haven't we filed litigation based upon these statistical disparities that we had since 2010? Why the lawyers ain't done that work for us? Because many of them are owned by the establishment and they can't do that kind of work. We might be quicker and faster to get a white lawyer to do it. And that's backwards, but that might be the truth.
Well,
You know? So,
I mean, I'm just happy, this is, first show, first conversation, and creating a space where, folks can come on and we can share, because I think the difference is we don't have to explain what is white supremacy. We don't have to make an argument for how racism runs through the political system. We can begin the conversation with what I heard Sister Logan say, what we already know, what Sister Amy Parks would say, what Mr. Hood said. She said, she speaks from what she knows. So I think, John, we've got probably, 15 minutes or so. Do you want to try to give Tumani a call?
Okay, give him a call. See if he's on the line. Do you have some? You check your listers. Maybe you can just. Has anybody got their hand up?
No, we don't have any. We had some folks and then they disappeared. So I mean, we're figuring out the back end here, but.
Okay.
See.
All right.
Tumani. Well, all right. No problem.
Okay. So he didn't pick up.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. It's a new system, and it's sort of like, everybody's used to Zoom now, but at the beginning of the pandemic, that was a bit of a learning curve, and we haven't had this platform in West Virginia, not that I know of, where anybody has tried to even say, hey, we're going to create a place 1 hour a week. We got a caller in. 1 hour a week for folks to come and talk. Let's see who's calling in. I think this is Tumani.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Islam Moor.
Islam, Mo. What's the deal, bro?
Man, we got you in with the Shabazz report and Sister Crystal Good with Black by God, man. This is Brother Tumani, right? One of my colleagues here in the Upper Monongahela River Valley. I like to refer to it. What's going on, bro?
Hello.
Yes, I'm here.
You know, tonight's topic was a tribute to Miss Amy Parks, but we also dealing with the state of Black West Virginia. And this is Sister Crystal Good.
Okay.
Hi, Tumani. We've been having a good conversation tonight, and I'm happy for you to join in.
Okay. Well, let me know what you need answered.
Well, I think we were just talking about. Well, John, you want to run that back for Tumani, what we were talking about?
Now, we had been discussing. Now, I don't think Brother Tumani ever met Sister Amy Rose Parks. That was one of my sisters over in Fairmont. our grassroots elder that helped us with the Juneteenth. Okay, we dedicate this first show to her and her work, but it's also we also are making the community aware that it is a platform for us to properly discuss our issues. And you, over the years, you and I have discussed issues. Brother Tumani and I were involved with the Afrocentric study group here in Morgantown. We did that thing for about how long? What 7 years did we do that thing? Brother Tumani.
99.
Yeah.
We've been since 1999.
Yeah, and we started out with cassette tapes and books. Okay.
Whoa.
I had some information. The brother, I should have let him tell the story. We first met each other on the basketball court. That's because that's what brothers did, play basketball, and then when we still played basketball. But then after the basketball came, the brothers say, "Well, what you do?" I say, "Brother, I got some Afrocentric literature. I think I had Message to the Black Man in Metanetta, Book 1, and Blacked Out Through Whitewash." So he say he got some Afrocentric literature too. Brother Tumani put on too. You put me on Bobby Hemmett and all that, the Afrocentrism, occult science literature and so forth.
The metaphysical.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But,
well, let me ask both of y'all one question. Kind of, I know the era and the generation of cassette tapes and literature, and when folks used to show up at the park. If you had one book that you would pass on, Afrocentric-based book, one book that you would pass on to, a young brother, young sister, 16 years old, what would that book be?
Go ahead,
Gerald
Brother.
Would it be Gerald Massey's? What was that? Stolen Legacy.
Gerald Massey. You think Stolen Legacy was written by George G. M. James. Yeah.
William Chancellor's what was it? Shabazz, Black Civilization story. Was that?
Now, that was the book that I would say. Okay, you said George G. M. James' Stolen Legacy, but I say The Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams. Okay?
Yeah, that's the
that
one
book.
Yeah,
that book was the book that I had read that really transformed me, made me change. I fasted and read that book. You got to, with this black identity thing, given the fact that we come up under white supremacy and racism, you got to take serious black study, black history, and the study of yourself to restore your identity. You got to take that stuff serious, okay, for real, okay. I mean, I hang out too, but when it comes to that, now look, us getting together as a collective, even though we played basketball, I could see that they were studying. And ultimately, we ended up going to Pittsburgh for an event. Because remember, we felt like the position was, Excuse me?
Astral Quasi.
No, we went to see Tony Browder.
Yeah, the first one was Tony Browder. Second one was
Yeah.
Then Manuku Rashidi.
Yeah, we had to see. We studied first, and then as a collective, we participated in activities. Okay, go do a field trip and go to an event together. So I'm trying to get Brother Norm to talk because he's a Moor. How you become a Moor? How did you become a Moor, brother?
You don't become a Moor. We all born Moors. We get everything mixed up when we listen to European words. Don't we? All must understand we're dealing with like dog English, like dog Latin, pig, English, pig, Latin, where the definitions are blurred. So by definition, we're all Moors. Black is English, Negro is Portuguese, Africa is a continent. So you can be none of these things based off etymology, and then just even the understanding of words. Black is an adjective. It's just a description of a person. It's not a proper noun.
Right.
So when you do nouns, your nationality is your noun. It's a proper place. A proper noun is your identification, which means that we're all Moors. You only can be what your ancestors were.
Okay. He's part of the Moorish Renaissance. Okay, where these brothers I have a Moorish identity myself. I had mine since 2009. I had to reclaim that, but before that, I did Afrocentricity. I went back to Africa,
You
and
didn't
then
have to reclaim it. You didn't have to reclaim it. You just put the Albion on notice that you know your status.
right. Well, right. I had based upon informed consent now. You know what I'm saying? Because years ago, my mother and my parents weren't aware of this information, and they signed various contracts, birth certificate, and so forth, and with the government. Okay, give you a social security number and all that kind of stuff. Based upon informed consent, you can give all that back to them.
Yes, you can.
You know? So this is the kind of thing that. Excuse me. Go ahead, Crystal.
No, I think that one of the things, just in that I'm fortunate, that I feel fortunate, is the generation that I was born in, early hip hop, and and how that was instrumental in me, being in Kanawha County, being one of few black kids in the school system in the county. And how that helped to shape how that brought me information. So, and then how that sparked my curiosity. We're talking, self-destruction, early Public Enemy, that era of hip hop, and how so when I hear words and about Afrocentric and Moors and studying Black history, that was a part of my coming and becoming. And I think that what I'm seeing now, especially in young teenagers in West Virginia, they don't have that same identity because the music is different. They're not shaped by, a sound. And this is not to slam hip hop today. It's just what I know. It's just what I see in my children and how they're being shaped by pop culture, and that, this is so important, like what you said, to study your history, to know your identity, not as it's been fed in quote unquote pig Latin, right? So, and I feel that I was fortunate in that, and that's what we're missing. I feel that this is a huge piece of culture, right? Like when I look back to the, the 90s and the 80s, and that generation of my life and others, how we were shaped, how we were so excited when a Black television show or a Black movie would happen, and we still, that was not, that was special. And I think now with the devices and it kind of blurs a lot of lines, and it's very difficult for teenagers to sort of to take on the necessary tool of studying history. And so I would love for you all to just give just talk about what that history is. If there's any young listeners, what do you want them to know? What's important? What's the next step for them?
Well, quickly, Crystal, you did mention how today's generation, they get their information differently than what we did, right? Recently, very recently, I seen where Megan Thee Stallion, after being subject to a lot of criticism, she did a Saturday Night Live special, and toward 3/4 of the way through, she did a protest where she used Malcolm X. Maybe she was advised to do this by her handlers. I don't know. But it looks like she's trying to do a takeoff on Beyonce, which she did at the Super Bowl doing the Black Panther thing. She's mixing her sexuality that she had been largely criticized for being a model to Black females, and then she's out here with her sexuality. But now toward the end, she's taking her sexuality and mixing it with protest. And it's a question that I'm not a female doing that, but it's a question that I'm assessing. I'm saying, okay, the protest still gets passed down to another generation because Megan Thee Stallion is out there now. She a lot of our young girls they know her, like they know Cardi. Okay, Cardi ain't did no protest, nothing with the protests, but just recently Megan did. Okay, So I'm trying to, package this up in response to, what you said, what we got to deal with. We do got to deal with a new generation of people that we got to package the protest movement up to them. So I'm assessing this. Yeah, Brother Norm, did you see that? I sent it to you, man. Did you see that yet? I was just talking about.
No.
You haven't seen it yet. Did you see? Yeah. Have you seen it, Sister Crystal?
Don't say this though. These people get locked in these contracts, and these contracts tell them what they can and what they can't say, and how they should be and how they should act. And that's just like what you see with Kanye West right now, with him trying to get everybody's masters back, because these people control everything.
Mm-hmm.
Poor rights and the old hip hop community, like Krista was saying, they had a debate on why the music industry was like it was, and the guy from Poor Righteous Teachers was letting everybody know, when you go make a contract, these people are pushing you to do what they want you to do. It's not never you doing what you want to do for yourself and the community.
Mm-hmm.
Because with the programming, what do the programming do? If people start acting off of what they see. So if more of us was getting positive information and positive imagery, would you see the same thing as what people are doing today?
Right.
No.
It's by design.
Most people become what they see, and they follow the videos. Everybody is, how many ways can you learn something? It's like you can learn by hearing it, writing it down, and seeing it. So look at the 3 ways that they got it locked into their programming.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
That's why they all say we made a contract with the devil, because whoever you sign to controls you, and how your image is given to the world.
Yes. And that's why, we can get our own, and that's part of what I'm doing with Black by God, the West Virginian, is creating, a platform, and so that Black-centered news for, by, and to West Virginians. That's what the Shabazz report is doing. I know other folks have ventured into different spaces, but for a long time, it's always been about, we want to support Black businesses. We need to support Black businesses. We know we need to do it, but how to do it, I think that we have to, part of the programming is that we can no longer, we have to do these things now.
Yes.
It has to be complete separation. It has to be complete separation of everything. We're not the same people. We're dominant, and then you're recessive. We can't have somebody who's occupying you as a colonial occupant and telling you what to do. It just don't work. These are colonists. They're not even supposed to be here. So what you're still looking at is a slave owner. Anytime you want to do something as indigenous, aboriginal, or native, you still have to what? Go to the person who is a colonist. That's not even right in itself. So you don't have your own identity and nationality and understand what's going on based off the Constitution, the treaties, then we're always going to be lost. You can't go to the same people that enslave you and ask them to free you.
He makes a good point there, and he and I went over this. See, this is what I was telling you about proper definitions. Like, for instance, a proper document, he and I talked about this, Brother Tumani. A proper definition would be to define the area based upon, say, for instance, the Monongahela River that flows north to Pittsburgh, which started out as Fort Pitt. With the Allegheny, it forms into the Ohio and moves over into the Mississippi. And that terms like West Virginia, Morgantown, and Fairmont would be de facto terms that were given to us by the colonial settlers after they came up out of the forts and set up de facto government. Now that's a new definition, a new revelation, right? Based upon information that we didn't receive coming through the public school systems. It would take research and work to be able to clarify that. But terms like West Virginia,
a lot more of a dialogue. I got the warning there that we probably got about 20 more seconds of air time. So it feels like we're just getting warmed up. So I have so many questions and so much that I want to talk with you about, Tumani. I mean, we just opened the door, and now we gotta, will you come back and talk to us again?
Oh yeah, yes I will.
All right.
We
John, you got 2 seconds. Tell the folks thank you, but we're about to go
Islam,
off there.
it's been a great show. Peace.
Peace,
y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. That was hot.
Yeah.
I didn't know the number because I was out here working on these cars again. You know?
Well, we're going to do every Sunday at 7. So we'll go from Sunday 1 hour from 7 to 8 every Sunday, and we'll okay. So good talking to you, bro. You know what I mean? I'm glad you tell brother Amaru we called him. Can you hear me?
All right.
All right.
Yeah.